Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Chris. Chris is a filmmaker from Orlando in Florida in the USA. So let's see what Chris has to say. Enjoy the interview. Okay, Chris, so how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. I just got my coffee. I just got back from New York, working on a film project. I'm doing a second season of a reality game show that I filmed last year. So now we're in the casting process of everything, and it's a lot. It's a lot of filmmaking, and I love it.
Amazing. So you spend a lot of time in New York regarding this project right now?
I can't say too much, but I actually went to New York for like a friend's birthday, and within that coast, I was like, I have 8 contestants that I'm filming right now, but I can't spoil like where they're located, but I think you can assume like
I see.
Potentially near New York.
I see. Okay, Chris, so tell me where you're from?
I live in Orlando, Florida.
And that's the place where you've been raised and grew up?
No, I was raised in Staten Island, New York for like my whole life. I was born in Brooklyn, and my parents moved to Staten Island when I was 2 years old.
I see. And why Orlando?
I like the heat. I really don't like cold weather, to be honest. And you know, all the Disney parks are here and roller coasters, and it's big.
I used to work 4 years ago. I used to work for Disney Cruise Line. I was working for Disney Dream, so I had a short contract, and was one of the best experiences I ever had in my life. And I'm originally from Brazil, and back home the weather is exactly the same like in Orlando. I was based in Port Canaveral, and I was like, oh my God, that's it reminds me the heat from where I come from.
That's dope.
So I was checking your profile. I could see that you are a TV producer, you are a filmmaker. So tell me a little bit about your career.
Yeah, so I graduated with my master's degree in post-production. I went to Ferris Graduate School of Cinema back in, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I did a 3-year program, and I majored in editing, post-production. And when I graduated, that's when COVID kind of hit, and I was like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do in my life? Now I'm like stuck in my house. And I thought of like my very first project that I really wanted to do was make a reality game show. I grew up watching like shows like Legends of the Hidden Temple, even like Nickelodeon, like all that, you know, the Amanda Show and things like that, and Survivor. And so after I graduated, I wanted to take what I learned from film school, and I want to incorporate it into something that I really like. I don't really like reality shows too much, but the reality game show aspect of it, I like enough where I wanted to create something that was short, sweet, to the point, and something that everyone can relate to. Because when we watch these films and reality game shows and things like that, we want to be involved in terms of like feeling some sort of empathy towards like the people that are participating in the project. So I wanted to make sure that the cast was really good, the game was really good, and that it was entertaining for people to watch.
Amazing, amazing. Right, so before we start our journey, William and the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Interesting about myself?
Yes.
I guess I would say like I've traveled to 35 states in the past, I would say 2 years, which is kind of weird with COVID and things like that. But I'm an adventurous filmmaker. I love to travel. I love to meet new people and everywhere across, you know, the country. So yeah, that's a fun fact about me. And yeah, I think that's about it. And I think one of my relatives was on The Godfather, but I don't know too much about that. I just know one of them is. That's it.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, Chris, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question. Let's do it. You can help me dancing as well.
I'm trying to get my lights on because I can make this into a disco. There you go. Now it's a party.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Chris, so through the games, there is a question that you don't have an answer for, you don't want to talk about it. I always can change, okay?
Okay.
Amazing. First question for you is, this one is going to be very easy for you. What are you most passionate about?
Filmmaking.
Of course.
Are these supposed to be like one-word answers?
Just we can tell. You can be yourself and say any answer, something that you're most passionate about.
Yeah, I would say filmmaking, and my passion is roller coasters too. So I love roller coasters.
So I guess you're in the right place. So you visit Disney all the time.
Oh yeah, but there's more roller coasters out there that I want to go to.
And saying that about filmmaking, when was the time that you said, okay, I would love to be a filmmaker, I'd like to follow this career? There was a moment, or you always wanted to do it?
Yeah, there was definitely a moment. This is gonna sound like really weird, but bear with me. So when I was like 3 or 4 years old, I was watching Barney the Dinosaur, and I'd watch the show, and I'm like, how do they do that? How do they make like this animation type Barney thing come to life? And so what I realized about some of these shows and films I've been watching is that there's so much like magic and so much depth, and there's so much you know, I don't want to say manipulation, but there's just, you to be like a good filmmaker, you have to really know how to tell like a good story, but also like the audience should be completely shocked as to what you're seeing in front of you. So that's really why I wanted to get into filmmaking. It really piqued my curiosity as to like how these things are made, and also I wanted to do the exact same thing because I want people who watch films and TVs, things like that, to feel the same way that I did when I was like 4 years old, being like, how did that doll become like a big purple dinosaur? You know?
And did your family always support you through the way?
I would say when I was an undergrad, yeah, but then I moved out, like I would say probably my freshman year of grad school, only because like it was really, the commute from Staten Island to Brooklyn was like very annoying, especially when I had like all these early classes. But I would say that, yeah, I think they supported me for like 75% of the time.
Very good. Next question, let's do it. Okay, Chris.
I can't dance, so
I'm sure you can. You just be modest. Next question for you is, what is the biggest risk have you ever taken?
Oh my God. I'm not gonna lie, I would probably say this upcoming reality show that I made. The budget for this was, I would say, a little bit more than like a thesis project for grad school. So usually in grad school, like we have something we call like a final thesis project, which is basically like the final film before you graduate with your master's degree. So usually the budget between that is like 10,000 to 12,000, and it breaks down by the track. So there's producers, directors, editors, DPs, and each track gets like $2,500 for the project. So my project costs about $15,000 to $17,000 to create. And so I think that right now is the biggest risk that I've definitely took for sure. Because I don't know how it's going to end up. It could end up being a flop, or it can end up being very successful. So that's probably my biggest risk so far. And also going to grad school for film was a big risk too, because it's expensive. School is very expensive. Yeah.
And if you can share, what was the big inspiration for this project you're working right now? If you can share.
Can you repeat that one more time?
What was the biggest inspiration for you to work on this project right now, if you can share?
Okay, yeah. So if you watch Jersey Shore and you've watched Big Brother and you're like big fans of those shows, I watch it and I'm like, wow, this is kind of like a little ridiculous, but there is some comedic side to the Jersey Shore, which is the reality show portion of it, and Big Brother, which is the reality game portion of it. And so what got me wanting to make something like this is I'd watch these shows and I'm like, man, if I had my own show, what would I change? So I changed the casting of it. I did totally different people for this first season of the show, and spoiler alert, like also season 2 as well. But I wanted to make something that was so different from all these other reality game shows, and I think that that's what inspired me to make this, which is watching the reality shows and seeing like, wow, if I was on the other foot, what would I do differently, and what's the audience talking about now, wanting to change things. So I would say, hearing a lot of podcasts, what people talking about reality shows, and then also just watching a bunch of different ones.
Very good. I like this. I like the idea.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Next one. Good. Next question for you is, when have you been the most happy?
Oh. Okay, I'm not. All right, I'll put this back to when I was filming the first season. I would say when the cast started going into the house for the show, that made me really happy, because as a casting producer, you start doing all the casting processes for each of the individual contestants, you have no idea how they're like gonna interact with one another. So I would say like that really made me happy to see like them coming into that house and like engaging with each other, and seeing all these different personalities like come together and seeing like the emotional connection between everything. And also the finale, I can't spoil the finale, but the finale, it was I got kind of teary-eyed with the finale, but that would say that probably made me the most happy.
Amazing. Saying that, Chris, how long does it take for you, to do the casts, to choose people? How long is the whole process?
That's a really good question. So how we did it this time was that we had the episodes on the website, but they're not finalized yet because the music is not under our license. So we have a music composer working on the new episodes to get released. But as far as casting goes, how we do it is that we submit it to Backstage, which is a website for actors or anything like that want to get behind a camera. We use Facebook, we use different sort of outlets for casting. And then how it works is we set a deadline. So after the deadline is done, then me and my team will look at all the contestants. We choose based on the locations, like where they're all located. We based it on the personalities, we based it on the occupations, we based it on how passionate they are on the show too. So the more passionate you are about the show itself, like, good job. You're doing a good job. So once we finalize our, we have our semifinalists, which are basically people that we'll do interviews with, so we can kind of get an idea as to their personalities and their passion of the show and their time when they want that, but we can start filming for them. And then after that, me and my team will look at the semifinalists, and then we'll choose 8 out of the semifinalists, 4 guys, 4 girls. And we really try to separate it from states too. So if you're one person from a different state, like, I don't know, Arkansas or whatever, you're probably going to your chance of getting on the show is probably going to be really good, because there's not that many people from that state applying. So after we're done with that, then we fly out, drive out, whatever. And I have my camera right here. I film their About Me videos, and then they come into the house. There's a date that they come to the house and they participate in the show, and then there's the finale, and that's it.
Oh wow! So this process might take what, few months altogether?
Yeah,
or?
It takes about like 3 or 4 months, I would say. Like, if your deadline's in 2 months, then we usually take 2 or 3 months to figure out who we want. So I mean, it's not as complicated as a process, but the bigger that the show gets, the more people will get on the show.
And I believe one of them, for the candidates to be part of it, they need to be American. They need to be living in the US.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about for this show?
Yeah. No,
I don't think no. As far as I know, you don't have to be a US citizen to be on the show. As far as I know, but I have to talk to my I'm not in charge of that. That's my contract person. Like, he knows all that stuff. So I would think so. Yeah.
Very good. Next question. Let's do it.
You gotta let me know so I put my notes on.
Very good. Very good. Right.
I can't dance, guys. Sorry.
Right. Before the next question, What's the best parts of living in Orlando besides the weather? And of course, there is always a challenging part. What that would be?
I would say, so the challenge of living in Orlando as a filmmaker, I would definitely say is that, and I believe they're still trying to figure it out now, is that there really isn't like a film group kind of like how, when I was living in New York, there was like, there's definitely a lot of different film groups in New York, but for Florida, I don't know. It may just because I've moved here in November or December, but I still think there's people just like kind of like all over Florida, and there's really no, I don't want to say a guild, but there's really no like team that I was able to like grasp myself into yet. But I guess I would say like giving it time, like Florida's a big state, so that's why I've been going to like different Facebook groups, like for casting and directing and all that stuff to, you know, kind of see where I fit in. So I would definitely say that meeting new people has been a tough battle for me.
Saying that, do you think that New York, from filmmakers, is the place to be?
That is a very good question. I think that it depends. First off, if you like to drive, I would not recommend living in New York because the traffic is not so great. I think, I don't know. It really depends on the person, to be honest, because everyone's saying California is the best place. Everyone's saying New York is the best place, but then they don't like talk about how expensive those states are to live in, but like other states that are less expensive, there aren't as many jobs. So it really kind of depends. It goes back and forth a lot between like, living in these states that are expensive, but you will get some more job opportunities over states that are less expensive, but not as many job opportunities. So it just give it time. I think Florida will pick it up soon in the tempo of like how New York is right now with the film industry.
Amazing. Next question for you is, if you could stay any age for the rest of your life, what age would that be and why?
That's a good question. I'm only 28. But I would say, that's a good, I would say 25. It's a good quarter year. Yeah, I would say 25. 25 is pretty good. I like the 25s. You're still figuring out things, but you're also kind of like partying. You're basically like you're a 4-year-old adult. So I would say 25.
Good. Next question. Okay, Chris from Orlando. Next question is, what's the funniest gift have you ever received?
Funniest what?
Gift.
Ooh, funniest gift like a birthday or a Christmas or anything like that?
What comes to your mind when you think about funniest gift?
I would say there was one time like someone gave me like this big box, like it was probably like this big. And obviously when you would open up a big box, you would expect like a big gift, right? So someone decided to give me like a big present for my birthday. And like inside the box, there was just like $10 like bills in there. There were just 10 signals in this big ass box. And I was like, I'm sure the box costs more than the bills. But yeah, I would say that's probably the funniest, but I don't know. I was confused, but yeah, I would say that's probably the funniest.
Are you the kind of person that's like choosing gifts and giving gifts away and receive them as well, or for you does?
Yeah, I would say I like to, you know, if I'm gonna give someone a really good gift, I want to like take my time with the gift. I don't want it to be like, you know, a half-ass gift where, you know, I just go to like Target or, you know, the Dollar Tree and get like a $1 envelope. You know what I mean? That says, you know, congrats on like graduation, but it's like their birthday. You know what I mean? Or like Merry Christmas, but it's not for their Christmas. It's for like, you know, their graduation, something like that. So I think, yeah, I'm really like, I'm not really good at making things for gifts, but I go all out buying the gifts.
Good. Next question. Chris, before the next question, as I mentioned before, I'm from Brazil, and back in Brazil, Big Brother is one of always, since it's been like 22 years, I think now, since it started, and always being one of the biggest shows of the year. You know, nowadays, I'm back in, when I look social media, people talking about Big Brother in Brazil, everyone wants to be part of it. Everyone goes crazy. Still, I'm not sure if in the US still a big thing as well, but in Brazil every year it's a big event. For you, particularly for you, if you had the opportunity to be part of it, would you be part of it or not? And the second part of the question is, would you change anything when you watch Big Brother? If you be like the big boss, would you change anything of the formats, or you like the way things being made it?
Those are really good questions. So actually, this current season of Big Brother 24 in the US, I'm pretty sure we have someone that is from Brazil. Her name's Indy, so she's currently on the Big Brother US version, but she said she wants to do the Brazilian one. It's funny that you actually mentioned that, because she was talking on the live feeds how like everyone from like the Brazilian Big Brother, like they love the show so much. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. I would say, like, you asked if I would go in the house. I would. I don't know, because I would definitely go in the house because I like the game. I really like the game aspect of it. It really showcases like the social, strategic, and the competitive aspect of like, which encompasses like the entire portion of Big Brother. So I would do it for sure. Yeah, I don't really care. I would do every single Big Brother version. I would do. And then the second part is, if I was the boss, what would I change? I would say, I would change two things, and this is gonna sound really messed up. I would get rid of the live feeds, because the live feeds really like have a huge impact on like social media. You do one wrong thing on the live feeds, and like your life is like ruined. So I would say the live feeds are probably gonna have to get like canceled or just more expensive, so that way trolls don't go on there and things like that. And then I would say I would change casting. I would say don't cast influencers on the show. I understand the business aspect of having the influencers, because they have like big followings, and it gets more people watching the show and things like that. So I would say cast just regular people. I don't know, like cast, even if their occupations aren't like insanely different, like just cast normal people on the show, and that's it. Definitely cast older people. Definitely cast younger people. Get really good age ranges, from like 20 to 50 rather than like 20 to like 38 and 1 40-year-old. So casting, and then as far as the game goes, I would say have double evictions earlier. When you watch something like from the start to the finish, usually the start is where people get intrigued the most, because it's it's the premiere of the show. So make like the beginning of the show way more intense. Like set the standards really high. I would say that's about it.
Amazing. All right. Next question for you is, what does success mean to you?
Okay, that's a really good question. I think success is like when you have a goal. Like, let's say my goal is to, I don't know, drink this whole coffee by the end of the day. And if you try your best at the goal, and like let's say it ends up just being like this, at least you tried your best, and that is success. Like doing the absolute best that you possibly can to reach a goal in which you could be proud of. Like even if you do like a race or anything physical activity whatsoever, at least you give it like 100%, and like you feel good about yourself. So that to me is success. I feel like a lot of people in the film industry think that success is like, I want to have $1 million, or I want to work for Brad Pitt and Ryan Reynolds and things like that. And that's not success. That's really just, that's mental, emotional, I would say, pleading to like a certain industry. But success and goals should be very individually based, and doing your absolute best to get to the finish line. So yeah, that's success. It's not about how much money you have in your wallet. It's not about having the best partner or the most gorgeous wife or husband. It's about doing the absolute best that you possibly can with the tools that you have in your toolbox.
Absolutely. I think success is a very personal thing. You know what I mean? What can mean success to you maybe doesn't mean for me or not anybody else. So it's all about you believing, or you know what I mean, seeing success as a good thing, as a good achievement. It doesn't matter what.
Absolutely.
Next one. Let's do it. Chris. Right. Next question for you is: when was the last time that you laughed so hard that made you cry, or you couldn't stop laughing?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't know. I would say TikTok videos really make me laugh a lot, to be honest. I'm trying to figure out. That's a good question. I really have to think about this one. So I would say like me and my friends, we were playing this like dating game show. If you've ever watched like Stranger Things, like Bandersnatch, just imagine that, but like a guy having to go on these dates with like all these random girls, and like you get to choose like what you want to say to like each of the girls, like, and they're like super crazy, and like we chose like one that was like really ridiculous, and like I don't know why, but like it's the decisions of like choosing things for certain people like in games like that make me laugh. So I forgot what it was called. I think it's something romantic. I don't know. You can probably Google it. It's like a romantic Bandersnatch type of content. I forgot what it was called, but that really made me laugh. I would say.
Next question. Let's do it. Lights. Chris from Orlando. Next question is: do you have any pet peeves?
Oh God, I'm sorry. This is like giving me a seizure. Hold on. Wait. Pet peeves. Ooh, that's a good question. I don't like when people control. It's annoying. I'm not a controlling person, but I don't like being controlled too. So like I don't know. I think people should just leave other people alone and not assume like everything is gonna be your way, I guess. But I guess a pet peeve too would be like, I don't know, just people that talk a lot and like no one responds. That's my pet peeve.
Right. When you say about someone controlling another person, you say that based on a personal event, or is just opinion that you made it up?
I would say both, honestly. Like, I mean, I know I'm talking a lot now, but like, I'm just answering a question. Someone will literally just like talk about themselves like nonstop without anyone asking them a question or having it be reversed where it's like, hey, like, what's your favorite sandwich? And then they'll say cheeseburger, and then they'll talk about something else that's completely different. And they'll talk for like 5 minutes straight about something that has nothing to do with cheeseburgers. So I don't know. I don't like that type of stuff. It's a little annoying.
Next one, let's do it. Right. Next question for you is, what has been the lowest point of your life?
Okay. I would say like I was in a relationships. That's always the lowest point. I would say I was in a relationship for like 2.5 years, and it was the lowest point like when we split, but I also feel like it was a high point in my life because I learned more about myself from like the breakup, because you know, I hate to say this, but like sometimes when you have like really hardships in your life, like it really makes you into a better person in some aspect, because you feel more grateful, but you also kind of learn more about yourself, and then you also know like what to expect from like a next relationship if it goes south. So yeah, a breakup is always tough, but also it made me really happy to know like, you know, it just wasn't meant to be.
How long did it take for you to get over of this relationship? Like when you go like, okay, now I'm free, I'm completely free of the situation.
Probably 6 months. This is true.
Good for you. My last one took 3 years. Wow. Next question. Well, before the next question, as I can see how much you enjoy and you love doing, you know, being a filmmaker, but there's always a challenging part. What that would be?
Being dependable on other people. One 100%. Like, if someone doesn't show up to like the show for whatever reason, like the whole thing is like not good. You know what I mean? Like we have to fix everything. Props have to get fixed. Scripts have to be fixed. So I would say the hardest thing would be depending on the actors, like showing up for things. And any sort of dependency on other people is always the hardest thing about filmmaking, period. If something goes wrong, even if it's like the smallest thing, the director always gets blamed for everything. So like if there's like an owl in the back and it's not supposed to be there, and like someone who watches your film notices the owl and be like, wow, why is there an owl there? It's the director's fault. Like any small thing is the director's fault. So I would say dependency is like a problem.
But does it happen a lot, Chris, that people that just don't does it?
Yes, it actually happens a lot more. I'll even give you a little some tea. So for this current season, the season 2 of Weekenders, which is we're filming the cast and things like that. Me and my assistant director, we were ready to go. We were about to film this person, and this person said that that they're at work, but they said that they were like free that day. So because we drove all the way to this place, we have to find a totally new person. And so things like that, like on the spot, are like very aggravating and annoying. So actors and people who like sign things, like if you're gonna do a project, just do it. If you don't want to do it, just tell the director, I don't want to do the project. That's it. It's not a big deal. It happens all the time. But wasting directors' time is annoying.
And when this kind of situation happens, do you find a mechanism to kind of cool yourself down, or to kind of try to, you know what I mean? I don't know, carry on with the project, or you kind of, as you said, when it happened, it's kind of ruined the whole thing.
So I'll give you like a little okay, so I'll get pissed off for like 10 minutes. I'll be like screaming like, what the F? Why didn't this person show up? Damn it. I'll be like the Hulk for like 10 minutes, and then I'll be like, all right, like, we can find someone else. It's not a big deal. And that's it, to be honest.
Next question for you is, which movie had a big influence on you?
That's a good question. I would say that's a really good question. Damn, I didn't think I was gonna get that question.
Good.
I would say any movie that I watch a lot somehow gets into my brain, because if I'm watching it a lot. So I would say The Breakfast Club. Like, that movie is like, it showcases it does a really good job, like what I do for my reality game show, like when it comes to casting, because I love casting. It does a really good job encompassing like the different people within like the environment. You know what I mean? So like the school itself has like these different stereotypes and these archetypes in the school, but it's great because like you can see them all coming together at once and like having the common interest of like, yeah, we're just like, we have, you know, jock, nerd, princess, whatever, like even though we have different personalities and like, you know, etc., we can still come together and realize that we're students or stuff like that. So I think we need more movies like that, where it's like we have a different diverse cast, but yet they're somehow able to come together.
Okay. 3 questions left for you. Let's do it.
Okay.
Right. Before the next question, Chris, let's say if you could work, if you could choose 2 people to work with when you are making a project, like anyone in your dreams to work with, who that would be and why?
I would say Quentin Tarantino, to be honest.
Okay.
I like him as a director because he doesn't care. Like, he just says what's on his mind and he makes really great films. And I think that's it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I said I like to work with Quentin. I would love to work with Quentin Tarantino because he doesn't really care. He's like a director that's like, yeah, I'm gonna make this film. I don't care if it's gory. There's no censoring in it. So yeah, and also I just love his Kill Bill movies. and Reservoir Dogs, and all those. So I would say yeah,
Okay.
and then probably Alfred Hitchcock, but yeah, I would say those two.
All right. Next question for you is, how to describe a perfect friendship?
Great question. I think understanding the pros and cons of the person, and just being there when you can, and understanding the person, and even though you might have some disagreements with your best friend, at the end of the day, pretty much you're just there for them, and you have common interest with the person too, which is always a boost.
All right.
And always having fun is great.
And your best friends, they live in Orlando as well?
Nah, he lives in Staten Island.
Right. 2 questions left for you. Let's do it. Right. Before the next question, people watching the interview right now, would you like to start a career as a filmmaker, a reality show producer? What would be your best piece of advice?
Oh my God. I wish someone told me this. All right. So even though it sounds really cliche, networking, but when people think of networking, they think like, I have to really talk to this really big person and they have to get me these really good jobs. It's actually not as hard to get gigs as people might think. You have backstage, which is now not only is it good for actors and actresses, but it's also good for people that want directors that want crew members, or you want to be a crew member. So backstage is good. Facebook groups. There's so many different Facebook groups right now, from every different sort of state. So Facebook groups, backstage, Instagram, kind of. You can probably find some people. Yeah. So definitely different social media platforms and things like that, and reaching out to new companies. That's a really good way of getting yourself in there.
Good one. Right, next question for you is, where do you see yourself living when you retire?
Florida. I'm always gonna live in Florida. That's not going anywhere.
Easy for you. You're already getting a taste of it, yeah? You're already living.
Yeah. I mean, I knew you really don't know where you want to live until you leave it for like a long period of time. And when I was in New York for 2 weeks, I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna be a Floridian for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that.
Very good. Ready for the last one?
Yes.
Let's do it. Last question. Okay, but before the last question, Chris, people watch the interview as well. Would you like to be cast? You know what I mean? By you, by you or any let's put the question a different way. People watch the interview. Would you like to sign up for any reality TV show or game show? What would be your advice for those people?
I would say don't just pick one show, pick a bunch of different ones, because a lot of people, when it comes to like just one specific show, they think that that's the show that they're meant to be on, or they really want to go on so badly. I would say be completely open-minded to a bunch of different shows, because you might be surprised, like people who apply for Big Brother might be really good for Survivor, or people who apply for Amazing Race might be good for, I don't know, Shark Tank. You know what I mean? Things like that. So apply to a bunch of different ones and get a good vibe as to what the reality TV world is, because it's a different world than filming. It's a different world than filmmaking world. So apply to a bunch of different ones. Startup reality shows are happening a lot lately. So like I said before, the Facebook groups are really good. So go on the Facebook groups, look for casting calls, go on backstage, look for casting calls there. And there's a lot of shows coming out, so they're gonna just keep going. So definitely keep applying.
It's a cliche when people go like, you need to be yourself, or somehow you need to know a little bit about the business. You need to kind of pretend a little bit, or when they say you just be yourself. Is a cliche or it makes sense?
Okay, so I know casting producers for like Big Brother and Survivor say be yourself, but I don't even know what that means, because being yourself, you're just you. So like even us right now, we're having a conversation, like we're being ourselves. We're not putting on a show, or technically we are, but you know what I mean. We're not like putting on like an act.
Yeah.
So I would say, when I cast people for the show, I just look at, don't put an act on. Or if you are going to put an act on, maybe that might be good if you're going to be annoying. Because I know, I'm not going to say who, but there is someone from my cast from season 1 that kind of put an act on, but it came off very like weird, but it's kind of weird too, because that could also kind of work too. So yeah, do what you want to do. Be yourself, don't be yourself. It's up to the casting director at the end of the day anyways, so they always look for different ones. So
right, last question for you is, if you could have a superpower, what that would be and why?
Flying.
Say that if you could fly anywhere right now at this moment, where would you go?
I would say, if I mean, you said I only have one superpower. I would say fly to different planets, but flying just makes it so much easier to get to point A to point B. So, yeah, I would say flying for sure.
Right. So then, let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Okay, I'll try.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game.
Money.
Power.
Family.
Together.
One word for love.
Passion.
Life.
Liberty.
Sex.
Passion.
Politics.
Bias.
Religion.
Catholic.
Fear.
Monsters.
Ooh, friendship.
Bonds.
Desire.
Goals.
Regrets.
Anxiety.
Success.
Goals.
One word for wish.
Passion.
Happiness.
Success.
One word for New York City.
Scam. Sorry.
It's all right.
You said New York City, not the state.
One word for Orlando.
Hot.
One word for USA.
Powerful.
One word for filmmaker.
Creativity.
One word for reality TV producer.
Craziness.
And the last one now, weekenders.
Ooh. That's a good one word for weekenders. Different.
I like that. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, tell me the most beautiful thing about Chris, and tell me something that he still needs to work on, to improve on. What your best friend would say?
Well, Chris is definitely a passionate, creative filmmaker. He will always do his best to make sure to set his goals straight, but also it could be a distraction for him. And he does tend to be very hyper-focused on one thing, which can ultimately segregate himself from like his friends and, you know, acquaintances and families and things like that. So even though he is passionate and, you know, goal-oriented for a specific thing, it could be a distraction for him.
I understand. Do you see some work in progress, how to deal with the situation?
Hopefully, if this becomes successful, I don't have to deal with this. So
very good.
Yeah.
Good one. Let's play now. Chris in the matchbox, and you can ask me a question. But okay, Chris. Now you back down. Yes.
Now we're good.
Now you can ask me a question.
Okay. If you had to make your own reality show, what would it be?
Oh my God, I should have prepared myself for a questions connected with that.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm gonna tell you that because I never seen that before on TV, and actually, I would like one day to do something like that. But
Okay.
if I would like create a reality show, Chris, I would create something that people actually. I love the question you put me in the spot now. I think I would try to create a reality show where you're saying before about aging, you know what I mean, different kind of age in a reality show, and actually I was connected with that because I believe when you put a reality show together, you need for sure to get different audience, different people, different interests as well. You need to put people of different age, like in a very different, scale. Also, I know reality show they put people with different, personality, but at the same time as well, you should know that these people, they have different backgrounds, you know what I mean, or social or any kind of different backgrounds and different age. I think that would make a very interesting reality show. Also with different like beliefs, those people, and they believe something and they really believe in that, you know what I mean. So this kind of people, when they have this way of thinking and believe in something that they really do, with different, imagine put all this together in a place where people, they are different ages with different point of views, different lifestyle, different backgrounds. I think that would be a good reality show because you could see the contrasts over there, you know what I mean, with aging, with let's say personalities, your background, the way you've been raised, you know what I mean. So I think that would be, you could see the contrast over there, and it would be even interesting for the people who's been part of it as well, because for them it would be like a master class of dealing with people with different ways of approaching life that they never thought or they never imagined before. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if there exists already this kind of reality show, but I never seen something like that. I never seen a reality show where they could see different people with different backgrounds, age, and all of that. I think that would get the attention of a lot of people.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think there are shows that are like that, but not in the extent of like being so drastically different. And I think that's what we need.
And you know why as well, as you mentioned before, Chris, I totally understand. It's all about business, make money, promotion, all of that. I understand that as well, but I think if one platform would be willing to do something like take the risk and do something different regardless, you know what I mean, I think that could be, as said, it could be like something. I have a good goosebump now saying that. I think would be something very interesting with people would appreciate, because nowadays there's so much things out there very interesting, but at the same time as well they are following like a standard, you know what I mean. And I think people, when they see something different with something that's never been out there before, I think people get interested somehow, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, totally, everything you said makes sense.
Cool. Chris, did you have a good time?
Yeah, this was fun. This hour flew by.
I was about
a lot of good questions to ask.
I was about to say that, my goodness, the time just flew like that,
Yeah.
1 hour, my goodness, that's amazing. But before you go, Chris, let's pretend now you got the attention of the whole world. The whole world is watching you right now, and you have a moment. You already have the microphone on you, and you have a moment to send a message to the whole world right now. What that would be?
So, hello everyone, millions of people out there. So if someone's telling you that you can't achieve a goal, or if someone is telling you that you have to do this or you have to do that, know that that person is probably not your friend. They'll never be your friend, and you should probably stay away from them. You absolutely 100%. Am I allowed to curse?
Okay.
America, I'm cursing. Everyone, millions of people, I'm cursing right now because this is serious. So you should be able to do exactly what you want to do without feeling like you're annoying people or, being belittled. You should not be feeling belittled by any decision that you make. If you have a passion in something, you go for it. Do you have to get some education for it? Yes, but realize that there's not one specific path to go to one road. If you're walking outside, there's definitely different ways of getting to point A to point B without going through one way. So just know that, like, your life is not a linear line in which, high school, college, grad school, work for a corporate company, and you know, getting paid nothing. So do your best. There's people out there that think the same way that I do. So you're not alone in this, and you absolutely can achieve anything that you want. It will take time, it will take money, but you will get to your goal if you just keep going the fuck at it. And that's all I have to say.
I love that, Chris. I love that. And I totally agree with you. What I believe as well is when you, as you said, I love that. There are no ways to follow, you know what I mean? It's just, I think when you start doing something, when you believe something, as soon as you start giving the first step, believe me, it starts working and you're going to find the direction. It can go this way, that way, but for sure. And through the process, you're going to find maybe different ways that I'm not expecting, you know, different passions, different drives that you go like, oh my God, and I was expecting that, and you might enjoy and you might get your goal even, you know, with a different glory, let's say. I think would be, that's what I believe as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, my God. And all the success for your reality show. And maybe I'd love to be part of one of this one day.
Absolutely, yeah. We should have applicants. We should have the application up by next year for season 3.
I'll be in touch with you, okay?
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much.
Care, I'm going to learn my dancing skills by the time I do this interview again.
You did well. You did well.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.